Madam Vice President, if you'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the flag salute.
Yes, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's go ahead with roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Present.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Present.
Councilwoman Frisbee. For the record, to the public, Councilwoman Frisbee is present telephonically this evening. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present. Presente, sorry.
Gracias. Councilman Harrison. And Councilwoman Williams.
Present y presente.
Gracias también. Council President Feliciano.
Present.
Y presente también. Gracias. Myself, Brandon Garcia, Municipal Clerk, present. Mr. Kaloji is excused from this meeting, and in for West Bridges is Scott Micchio, Assistant Attorney.
Hello.
He's presente también.
Council President,
All right.
Mr. Harrison has entered the room.
All right. Thank you. On your call, Madam Vice President, if it's okay with you, I will read the invocation at this time.
Yes, please proceed.
Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech thee to bless this, our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of our community and thy greater glory. Amen.
Amen.
Right. And Madam Vice President, at this time, I believe we have a presentation from Kingsbury. Thank you. Yes, indeed. And Madam Vice President, if you want to notify the presenters of how much time they have at this time.
Yes, please do.
I'm asking, would this be a 10-minute presentation, 5-minute presentation?
Yes, 5 minutes, correct.
You have a 5-minute presentation, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
10 minutes, my apologies.
Looks like you got a 10-minute presentation.
Thank you again.
There you go, guys.
Thanks.
All right. Looks like we're good.
Great to be in front of you all again. Thanks for having us, as always. I'll just start with a quick overview of the transaction that we've been collectively working on for quite a while now, that we're very excited about. A partnership that Jeff and myself are a part of is acquiring and renovating, preserving Kingsbury Towers, which needs it. And we always like to point out that the calculation of the tenant's rent will not change. This has been a part of the message from the very beginning, from us to you and also us to the residents. Residents will not be relocated. They will have a place at Kingsbury if they desire one. And we are doing this transaction, this preservation with New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency and the City of Trenton. So just to go over the scope of the preservation, again, we've talked about this a number of times and it's continued to evolve and gotten more elaborate. From apartment interiors to common areas, the building exterior and building systems, we are revamping the building in a very major way. As all of you know, as you've driven past it, seen photos, taken a tour of the property, it needs work and we are excited to do that. I forgot to mention, we're also adding 16 accessible units to bring the property up to current code, which are currently not there. This is a nice picture of what we hope to achieve once the renovations are complete. And you've seen that picture before. We're happy to show it off. So you all, thank you very much. You all approved and signed this resolution and agreement for a pilot for the property at 5% back in February. It was a long process, and I think we are all better for it. We're really excited. This is a huge part of the property's success, to have stable and consistent taxes for a long period of time. And as I mentioned before, the scope has, steadily been increasing, not just what we are going to do, but the cost of it. Partially driven by the fact that the scope itself is increasing, but also because the cost of materials and financing costs are going up. So this is roughly a $120 million transaction as it stands today, total development costs. And the way this transaction is structured, as with many other affordable housing properties, is it has to be financed at least 50% with tax-exempt bonds. Those bonds are being issued by HMFA, and that's part of the reason that this is a property that's involved with HMFA in the first place. So 50% of 120 million, roughly 60 million of that will need to be financed by tax-exempt bonds. And this is essentially, it's too large for HMFA to finance in one transaction. So the way that we are going to solve for this issue is by splitting the transaction into two. The projects will still, remain mostly the same. This is more form over function, but it allows the property to be rehabbed to the same level with the same financial structure, but it just is split in half. There's really no material cons, so I'll just tell you what's good about this situation. It allows HMFA to finance the project, which is absolutely essential for this to happen. It allows closing to happen more quickly, because there may be some way that in the world that you could figure out to do a deal of this size, but this is the solution that works now. It allows the scope of work to remain the same. One of the ways that you could solve this problem is to reduce scope from the job, but as I've said before, and as we all know, we should not remove any scope from this transaction. We should bring the property up to current standards, and it would be a shame to not do that. And there will be some added legal costs and paperwork, but we're happy to do all of that to make this project happen. I didn't put in the presentation, and I should say these two projects will close concurrently. So they're, from the perspective of someone watching construction happen, there will be no difference if it's one project or two. So our request tonight from you guys is to split the pilot into two separate agreements. So there'll be one for East Tower and one for the West Tower. That's what we're asking for. So I'll open it up to questions.
Thank you. Council, questions?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question.
Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you. So if you could go over a little more detail, how the decision came and direction from NJMHFA on having to split this. I know what you talked about and you put on the screen as far as the presentation, but if you can kind of break it down in more layman's terms, why this was absolutely necessary. I'm not sure if I can do it in more layman's terms, because it has to do with the pooled bonds that they're going to sell to the public market. So it gets very financial. Well, try to, as Denzel Washington said in Philadelphia, I'm a third grader.
Okay.
I think it's
when HMFA issues these bonds, they get sold to the public. And so the public has to understand the risk of the bonds, like how likely are they to be repaid? And when there's a single property or a single loan that's too large, it's considered credit risk. So those bonds might be riskier than if the properties were smaller. Go. So, sorry.
Yeah, it has to do with the rating agency. So when HMFA issues bonds, and their whole bond program is rated by S&P, and when S&P does their due diligence and analyzes their their bond issuances, they will see one issuance for $60 million, which dwarfs all their other deals. So again, it's more form over function that, splitting it up, East Tower for 30 million, West Tower for 30 million, that allows them to make the rating agencies a little more comfortable.
So if it were to stay at 60, they might even have trouble selling those bonds?
I don't want to say that, but it seems that they think
I'm not
they may
asking
have
you
an
to
issue.
speak for them, but just to kind of put in plain.
I don't know if they'll have an issue selling the bonds as much as it could affect their overall rating for the agency in general.
Which could cause the interest rate to go up.
But at the end of the day, when all this, if it were to come to happen, everything gets renovated and rebuilt, both buildings will be owned by the same company, and both buildings will be treated the same as far as the quality of the work, what the residents can expect as far as quality of life, as far as them still being able to have the right to return. None of that will ever change.
That's 100% correct. The only difference will be the people in the East Tower will pay their rent to an entity call it Kingsbury East Preservation, and the folks in the West Tower will pay their rent to Kingsbury West Preservation. But the ownership, everything will be exactly the same.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions from council? Okay, thank you very much. Seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
At this time, I understand that there are candidates for our ethics board here present this evening. If you'd like to come up so we can hear from you.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, members of council, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Erica Presley. I'm a native of Trenton, New Jersey. Former city worker, current state worker. My current position includes working for the Office of School Ethics with the New Jersey Department of Education. I am a candidate for the Trenton Ethics Board. I'm sure my professional background, my educational background, and my current experience will make me a great candidate for the position. I have current experience with ethical complaints, financial disclosures, trainings, making sure everyone is compliant with everything that I just detailed. If not, our office does issues orders to show cause. I feel that with my current experience in working in the Office of School Ethics, that I can become an exceptional board member of the Trenton Ethics Board. Thank you. Is there any questions? I'm so unprepared for this meeting, so excuse me.
Ma'am, I have a couple of questions.
Councilwoman Williams.
Ms. Presley, it's great to see you.
Thank you as well.
And like to just a couple questions. And reason, having you come tonight as a new member, it's really and good, and it's important because we have had problems in the past over, I'd say like the last 5 or 10 years with some boards not having quorums, or some people, they come onto a board and as time goes by, their interest wanes, or they just, for whatever the reason, they stop showing up.
Right.
And I haven't been on zoning board for a long time. I could see particularly when we had issues during COVID of not being have a quorum, and it kind of stops the process of the city on moving forward on different things. So I want to thank you very much for coming, and also as a Trentonian, stepping up to want to be part of one of our boards to help our city.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So my only question is, what inspired you to particularly choose ethics over another board? I know that's part of your work, but we can talk a little bit more about that.
Well, ethics to me has always been a huge, huge factor in any of my work. I feel that it's a duty for people to, be held accountable for their actions. It can go under the board or under the table, but me working in the field now, I see that there's so many people who are passionate about, ethics in the workplace. So although it's completely different than school ethics, based on my knowledge from that, I can just be more passionate in what the city upholds. And because I used to work for the city, I saw a lot of things that, were slipped under the rug. So me being outside of this, working for the city, and just me being experienced in what an ethical complaint would entail and the details, and not just, from what we read, there's always three sides to a story. So as long as my colleagues will be helpful and, wanting to get to the bottom of if it's even an ethical complaint, we can just move the city forward in ways that it wasn't before. So although the position is not paid, I think that I will be dedicated to just putting the city in the right track.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any more questions?
Any other questions?
Perfect.
Ms. Presley, I just want to thank you for coming before us today. Your presentation is such that, it seems like you are truly interested in doing this line of work. And as you stated, you used to work for the city of Trenton and you saw some ethical issues and some problems. And those are things that definitely go overlooked or pushed under the rug quite often.
Absolutely.
So it's really great to see somebody with your background stepping up to the plate to serve in the capacity that you're looking to serve. So thank you.
Thank you.
How are you, Chamber? It's good to see you. My name is Winston Mills, and I'm applying for this ethical committee, the board. My background in it is that I have a show, a podcast, that I try to get the differences between people in the city as I've been doing. Most of you would know me from my show. And my main deal is to try to get everybody so the city can go forward. I'm a Trenton born, Trenton raised guy. You know what I mean? This is a good job. It's not really a job. It's not that I'm getting paid for anything. It's the same way that I'm doing my podcast at this time. So I was asked to come and speak to the board, speak to you guys, and see if I fit the job. I think that I already fit the job because a couple of you were on my show already, But if it's anything that you guys, if you want to ask me any questions, shoot them.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Council, any questions?
I have a question.
Councilwoman Williams.
Good evening, sir. Good to see you.
How are you?
Good. Just so I wanted to get a little more towards why ethics is of particular interest to you for this board, and then also regarding the board and the commitment to it. How do you see this as a way to help our city?
So my background is that I'm Caribbean. My parents are Caribbean. I know a lot of other different ethnicities throughout the city. So growing up here, I've seen a lot of shortcomings where just because people were a certain ethnic background, they were counted out. So my thing on the whole, like what I would like to do, make the playing ground even for everybody. That's the only thing I wanted to always do, just make the playing ground even for everybody, creed, whatever you are. That's good enough, or okay, anybody else?
Any other
Christine,
questions?
Anybody? Jossie, anybody? That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Madam Vice President, just to interrupt briefly, I just want to give the council president the option of whether they want to take over the meeting or if they'd like to yield.
Thank you. I'm going to yield to Council Vice President
Understood.
Figueroa Guttenberg tonight. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. On your call, Madam Vice President.
Proceed.
Certainly. At this time, Madam Vice President, we've reached the point of public comment. I believe we have three individuals signed up for public comment this time to the public. Public comment will be 5 minutes long. You may address any matter that you wish. Please do understand that the council is not obligated to respond. The first person up for public comment will be Joe. I'm sorry, Chapman? Thank you. Joe and Lawrence Chapman, thank you.
Hello, my name is Lauren Chapman. I'm Joseph Chapman. How you doing? Okay.
No.
Thank Ms. Feliciano to bring me up. We have a situation on two matters. I live on Bellevue Avenue, and like every year, there's a church there that has a outing, and it makes it to where all our residents have to move their vehicles to park somewhere else, and most of the people on that street are disabled. And I feel that is not fair because they don't go to everybody's door and try to get signatures from everybody, all the residents, to see if it's okay. But when it snows or anything like that, they will not allow us to park in their parking lot. So I feel if they're gonna have their outing this year, they should be able to have it to where Bellevue, where the Mercer Hospital is, that way they can set up all their tents all the way up that way because it's all vacant there, instead of putting their tents in front of residents' homes and then make it inconvenience. Like I'm disabled myself. So I feel that it's not fair, and I feel that if they want to have it, I don't have nothing against the church or anything in that nature, but it's not fair for people who pay taxes on that block. So, and the next matter I'm here is for the animal shelter. Yes. My brother, he works there, and they're having a problem there with the animal shelter. There's a lot of dogs there that shouldn't be there because a lot of them, the facility is not big enough for them to hold these animals. And I fostered a dog last year. It was a pit bull. Took my own money and took the dog and got the shots for him, and got rabies shots and polio shots and everything. And they got somebody new there that don't know what they're doing. What's her name? Laura Garber. Her name is Garber. Now she's disrespecting all the people that is employed there. She's using her status the way she thinks she knows what she's doing. There's people that's been there like 17 years. And these dogs, they can't be put in cages. That's the reason why I fostered a dog, because these dogs are very aggressive and it's hard to even train them. And it's hard to even keep the facility clean because they need room to where they can let out their aggression, and that way the dog wouldn't be so hard to even take control of. And then there's another thing that they need a guard down there at night in order for somebody to leave their dog there. They need a guard there 24/7. That way people just can't come and leave their dog there, and then they end up in the shelter where he have to take care of the dog. Right. And it's not fair to him or any other employees that work down there. Now he's a senior. He shouldn't be.
I'm 56 years old. I'm a senior citizen. They put me in the animal shelter, and where they got me working there is in the kennels. I'm doing 30 dogs by myself.
That's a lot. And it shouldn't be like that. And then
no one's helping me. I does this every day. I get to work 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm there all day to 4.
And he's cleaning feces constantly.
All day by myself.
He's getting no kind of help whatsoever. And then the new people who's down there trying to dictate to him and tell him he's not doing his job, threatening him that he's gonna lose his job because of this. So I feel that's not right, and whoever put that person in that position should not be there because they don't know nothing about dogs.
Right.
I had dogs all my life, and I know where the dog, that's man's best friend. You don't treat nobody like that.
Right.
That's like inhumane. So all we ask you to do is look into it and get something to get these dogs out of there, because there's too many of them overcrowded.
It's
overwhelmed. You can't even walk through there. There's dogs on top of dogs, cats on top of cats.
Right.
And it's not fair to the animal, and it's not fair to the employees that work there, because somebody's going to get hurt because it's a vicious dog. Most of those dogs come from drug dealers. They were fighting dogs, and that's all they know. You just can't walk up to a dog like that and think he's going to be okay.
He's your friend. He's not, because I've seen people get their finger bitten off from a dog at this kennel.
And they're breaking through the cage.
Every time we call the fire department, they must be working with the city or something, because they're not doing anything. They keep claiming, oh, we're going to get in touch with them. We're going to do something about it. It's nothing being done.
They need a big facility where these dogs can run and actually get all that aggression out of them, because that shelter, I wouldn't put out. No, I wouldn't. That's why I fostered a dog. I didn't want to see that dog in that shelter.
Yes.
And I found her at home, so she's doing well. So I took her out on the farm.
Yes.
She can run all she wants. That's all I want to say.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Can you tell us the name of this officer again, the person in charge you're having issues with?
Laura Garber.
Do you know, what is her rank? Laura Garber.
She comes in on Wednesday. No, she come in Monday and Wednesday. She's only there 2 days. But she's supposed to be like a dog trainer or something, trying to train the dogs. But what her job is, if you're gonna do it, don't try to get us involved with it because that's pulling us from our job, what we are there to do. So by messing with her, trying to get 2 dogs that's not gonna be able to go to a home or anything, that's just wasting our time because then we have other dogs that's still there and we're not able to keep up on our work because, like I said, it's only me in the kennels by myself. By you taking me from one end to go to help you do something, then I'm behind on my work. So then I'm getting yelled at and screamed at because they saying I'm not doing my job.
All right, thank you so much. Again, I remember doing the walkthrough with you a few weeks ago.
Yes.
So I definitely understand what you're talking about. And yes, with this trainer, she does training and levels, gauges aggression, but thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions? Nothing? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Good evening.
All right, have a good one.
Shaquila.
Huh?
Thank you. Please do state your name and address for the record.
My address. My name is Shaquila Amaker. I live out West Trenton. For other reasons, I choose not.
Understood. We have it on file. Thank you.
All right. I took it upon myself in the past couple of months to have several conversations. I am a mother in Trenton. I live here. I work here. I work in 3 different fields. I work with the disabled. I work with kids. I work with elderly, and I work with 6 people. In the past 3 years, after COVID, things have went downhill. The conversations I hear at work, at all sites, is housing. I'm trying to figure out how did rent in Trenton go from $15,000 to $17,000 to $2,800 a month without no communication from landlords. I have made it my goal to find out who my landlord is, go to the address, have a conversation about repairs in my house, sent letters, offered to buy my unit, and was denied with no conversation. I had people show up to my home unannounced, stating that they were coming from the previous landlord. And that's the part that shocks me. My previous landlord and my new landlord are well-known in the city. And the fact that I am raising my kids in a home that hasn't passed inspection in the past 2 years, yet my rent has to be paid. I work hard, so I don't qualify for legal aid. But then I found out I'm just not the only one going through this. There are several single moms, single families, double families that cannot afford to talk to these landlords because we have no legal help. The only legal agency in this town is legal aid. And guess what? I worked so hard to be able to qualify for a mortgage that they won't get involved in a serious situation right about now. I found out my rental property has trees from the city on the ground that are growing through the basement, which causes me water damage. I have wrote letters. I've came down here with pictures. This recent rainstorm, it fell in my backyard, missing my cars and my neighbors' cars. My landlord has came to my house. We have had conversations. He did not show back up. He left me without heat from December to March the 7th after doing a walkthrough. Now, the first thing you'll say is, why didn't I call the city? Because there's no one to protect me against retaliation. Not just me, but other people. My previous landlord before that was able to collect city assistance, housing assistance for reasons for me and other tenants. I'm the last one standing on that block. I watched my new landlord remodel 3 houses on my block. Roof, yard, front door, everything. Never came to knock on the door to ask me what I needed with my kids. My son, 23, special education student, graduated from high school, cooking school at that. He works. He's a good young boy, but he will never be able to move out and afford rent without being on government assistance. And I don't want my kids to grow up and be on government assistance. I want them to hold their own. I take my paycheck and I pay for medical bills for my older daughter who is trying to work within the city, trying to start her own business. But like I said, I'm finding out from other mothers, single fathers, they have the same fight. Have you guys ever been to the courthouse on a Friday? You have the most powerful attorney in this town that will not answer to tenants, but only to landlords. And we cannot fight him as long as we work. The average person is lucky to make $20 an hour in Trenton, lucky. And that's still not enough to pay for food and everything. The cost of living has went up. But do you know that when these kids are leaving high school now, they're making $15 an hour, which counts them out for Medicaid, which means your new generation is now paying for medical bills that they can't afford, or doctors. I have walked around, I have talked to people. There's a family that lives in their car that moves around through the city because they can't come up with $7,000.
Thank you.
Council Vice President, can I just ask for her, if you could, Shaquilla, if you could just leave your information with Mr. Garcia, or Mr. Garcia, if you could give her mine also, please, thank you.
Our next public comment is from Leslie Wilborn. How you doing?
Good evening, Council. How's everyone this evening? I'm Leslie Wilborn, 29 Hyle Avenue in the North Ward in Trenton. I really, this is more of a thank you for the council and Jennifer, Councilwoman Jennifer Williams. We did get our one-way approved and it's up and running as of April 11th. And we're so happy of that. And we've all already seen the changes. We don't have the chaos that we have, going down the street. There's still some people that have not, gotten used to the one-way as of yet. But overall, it's excellent. It's working very well. And I thank you so much. A much-needed change. Thank you so very much. And I had one other issue, but I discussed it with Jennifer, and she's already aware of it, and she's handling that. So that's it. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Wilburn.
And Madam Vice President, I believe that's all the people we have for public comment this evening. You may start at civic comment with anyone you wish.
Thank you. I'd like to start this evening with Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you, ma'am. I just want to say thanks to everyone who came to speak tonight, and particularly some of the issues. Thank you to Ms. Wilborn for coming. It's always nice to hear when we're doing a good job, and I'm really thankful for this full council wanting to make sure that Hyle Avenue became one way for the safety of everyone. It's extremely important. And Ms. Shaquilla, I'm really sorry about this situation, but thank you for bringing this to light even further. This has been an issue for every single member on this council, trying to get control of rental prices and everything that's going on, the condition of rental properties in the city and how that is handled. And just please know that we are all doing our best to do that. And we want to make sure that members of our citizenry, all Trentonians are included in this. And the more information we get is the better to make that happen. So thank you so much. So I just have a few quick announcements tonight regarding right off. And one thing I wanted to discuss because it came up the other night regarding the downtown entertainment district. Very much looking forward to working with my council colleague, Councilwoman Jossie Edwards, our city administration, on trying to get a ordinance together in the coming months so we can have something to bring to our downtown business owners as well as the public. So we can settle this issue and have a thriving downtown entertainment district that attracts more people, gives folks things to do, and also serves the needs and desires of everybody, and also make sure that we take care of the concerns some folks have. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'll be a very positive development this year coming up. Also, want to make sure everybody knows that for announcement this Saturday at 8:30 will be the opening day parade for North Trenton Youth Baseball, which is something that always is an amazing thing to see, all, particularly the children, the coaches, and everyone out there getting started on baseball season. It's such a great event, but also it's a sign of hope, a sign of renewal. So if you can possibly join that area, they'll be marching, I believe, at 8:30 or so. It's going to start the parade from Galilee Baptist Church at 440 Martin Luther King, going down Martin Luther King, and then heading down Ingham to the ball field. So please join us for the celebration. It's a very positive thing for our city. The other thing I want to talk about tonight, and just give me one moment, please, is some really great news that Art All Night will be back this year. The organization will be making more announcements to try to get volunteers, et cetera, officially, but I've been authorized to tell everyone that it will be held on Saturday, June 29th from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. and begin again on Sunday, June 30th from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there's going to be a virtual component that will take place for the full 24 hours and will be able to be accessed at the Art All Night website and different social media. And it'll be held this year at the War Memorial. So that's really a great thing for our city to get Art All Night reestablished. It was such a great event before, and hopefully everyone will come out and support this event and this endeavor by Artworks and their partners, because it's really an exciting event, particularly I know for me, seeing my kids submit art and having people look at it, it was such a treat. So please come and attend that when it happens. And then I do want to also, on a more serious note, regarding the announcement that just came out in the last 24 hours regarding lead in our parks. This is a big concerning issue for everyone, obviously. But one of the things we need to make sure is that we're getting information quicker, and we're also getting more information as it's happening. And I look forward to working with the federal partners and administration to making sure that happens in the future, particularly when there's going to be additional testing in areas. But it's good to find out that if we have problems, we know where they are and that they will be taken care of. Because some of the parks, like Bruning Park and then also Vereen, they have certain areas that are not going to be accessible. Other areas will be accessible, or they're capped already with basketball courts. But we need to make sure through all our channels of communication that we get the information out there, we get accurate information, but also that we're able to answer questions from our constituents and the public, because they deserve to know as well as we do. Everyone has a right to know, because this is an important health issue. I'm glad that our city and our administration are taking it on rather than kicking the can down the road, because Trenton is the history of America, and that includes pollution. So God bless.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Harrison.
I just wanted to say we're going to be soon be working on the budget, and I think everybody on this council believes we need more inspectors. We have a lot of rental properties in the city. We have people who are always reaching out to each one of us regarding issues, regarding the places they live in. So hopefully the DCA and the administration can work together to make sure that we can address more ongoing issues all throughout the city. Also would like to thank the two people who came here tonight, Ms. Presley and Mr. Mills, who want to be on the Trenton Ethics Mr. Chapman, who came here, he comes here many times. He's always telling us about things that are going on in the community. I appreciate what he says and does in the community. And also, we need to get more people to come to this meeting or reach out to us to call us regarding issues that are going on in the city that we need to address. So I'd like to thank everybody for their help and have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. One, I wanted to say thank you to those two, Erica and Mr. Mills, for coming forth and being engaged and wanted to be a part of the ethics board. As one thing I would say, my colleagues and we are trying to reestablish in most of the boards who have been inactive. So thank you for stepping up to do that. Mr. Chapman, who was gone, we'll talk to him a little bit later about that. And as far as the animal shelter, I also did a walkthrough through it, and it is overcrowded. So hopefully we can get this addressed really soon. Ms. Shakila, I have your information. This is happening far, far too many times with many of our residents going through the same thing you're going through. I've been on the phone. I was on the phone for about an hour today with the same situation. I want to connect you with the person who can possibly help you. And that is why also before us tonight, we have an ordinance that is to cap the rent, that landlords cannot increase it. Right now, they can increase 7.5% or 7.9%. I can't remember. But we're presenting that it will be capped only at 4% right now, so that it's a balance and it's easier for the tenant as well as being fair to a landlord also. But so thank you for coming forward and allowing everyone to hear that situation, because there's way too many people who are going through that same exact thing. Thank you for also coming forth and letting us know the job that Councilwoman Williams and all of my colleagues were doing. So thank you, because it's always good to hear someone being appreciative of the work that we're doing. Just a few announcements. We have April 24th is the Trenton Southward Neighborhood Association Community Meeting. That will be at 6 p.m. at the Boys and Girls Club. April 27th is the Autism Color Run, also cafe conversations that will be held at Skillet at 11 a.m. The Autism Run will be at Trenton Central High School at 9 a.m. Also, May 5th, the Free Family Photos, that will be at Calwood Park. Also, on June 11th, there will be a one-stop shop expungement event and job fair at Mercer County College, and that is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you know anyone who is who could use the expungement, please send them that way on June 11th at Mercer County College, downtown Trenton. July 9th, the NAACP will be hosting their voting block party, and there will be more information coming forth for that. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want to start off with, echoing the sentiments of my colleagues. It's always good for people to come back in here and just, tell us that we're doing a good job, because this is a thankless job a lot of the time, but we are all here for the betterment of our city. So I'm glad to see a lot of our work coming to fruition. And with that being said, we're focusing right now on establishing a downtown entertainment district, like you heard Councilwoman Williams mention, and since finding out the steps of all of that. So as we focus on economic development, it's important for us to focus on an entertainment district so that our entire population has somewhere to go, something to do after work and on the weekends and things like that. So first, we will have to work on an ordinance, and we are putting a group together. So I'm happy that that's coming to fruition. So I want to say thank you to Jim Beach, our Chief of Staff here, and for taking the first step on that. And then after we get past that small hurdle, then we'll get into amending Chapter 10, Section 10.5 of the alcohol beverages. So, and then we're going to have a community conversation around this as well before an ordinance is even passed, before any chapters are amended to our ordinances. We're going to loop in the community, engage their interest in this, and support as well before we move forward with any votes from council. So, and we're hoping to do that on June 6th. So I'm looking forward to working with this group to get things done, and with our police director as well, because having a public safety plan, a part of this incoming flux of businesses that we're hoping to achieve, is definitely important. And I know Councilwoman Gonzalez said it, that Cafe Conversations is on April 27th from 11 to 1 at Skillet. I just wanted to point out that this is organized by Officer Corey McNair at the Trenton Police Department and the Community Affairs. He's the North Ward liaison to the Community Department and Community Affairs Department, and he had partnered with local entrepreneurs downtown who own businesses. So there's the owner of Much Better Studios, Quayshawn Williams, the owner of Skillet Cafe, Robert Wilborn, and the owner of Moja Life, John Dockery, which is our first legal cannabis business soon to be opening. So we're excited for that as well. So we hope that you can see that come to fruition by the summer, because he's nearly complete with his renovations. So, and good to see you all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Councilwoman Frisbee.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Thank you. So good evening. I'm going to make my comments brief. I wanted to first thank Kingsbury for coming out, even with my not being there. I apologize being at this retreat, but I want to thank them for their presentation. And if I heard clearly, Mr. Chapman was there with some concerns, which I was not able to hear clearly, but I will reach out to him in the coming days so that I can get clarification on what it is that, what his concerns were. Other than that, I don't have any other announcements, but I do want to read the full City of Trenton's mission statement, which is recognizing that the people of Trenton have made us guardians of the public trust. We are committed to govern with integrity and fiscal responsibility, to seek excellence in the city's operations, and to serve all the city's people with respect and compassion. We are committed to enhance the quality of life throughout the city and to provide quality services to all citizens, particularly those in greatest need. We are committed to conduct the city's affairs with respect for our environment, to foster opportunity, empowerment, and public participation, and to pursue a vision of the city as a community shared equally by all people. I thank everyone for coming out tonight, and thank everyone who came up to share. And I apologize that I wasn't able to hear everyone clearly, but I will read back on the minutes and get more information from Mr. Garcia. Thank you, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I just have a couple of quick comments this evening. Again, I want to thank those who came forward to speak. And Ms. Anderson, I believe you mentioned a family living in their vehicle in the West Ward, and I do believe that may be the same person who emailed me today, which is really interesting, right? So it is a problem that we're going through in our city, but it's a nationwide problem as well. But I just applaud you for being open and expressing yourself and expressing your concerns and your issues and what you're going through at home, because there are so many others going through what you're going through that are either afraid to or ashamed to speak out on it. So I do applaud you for coming forward, and I do hope that this council and this administration can help you get the help that is much needed for you. I think that I just wanted to go into announcements. So again, this Saturday from 3 to 10 p.m., Public Safety Appreciation Day, appreciating all public servants of the EMS and firefighters and police in Trenton, Ewing, and Lawrence. So please come out. It'll be a great day. South Ward Neighborhood Association, again, is cleaning up their community garden this Saturday at 9 a.m. on Lamberton and Furman. So please come out and lend a help a hand or come in, learn about different plants for your garden, or, lend a hand, bring out the kids. That'll be a nice day. May 4th at 10 a.m. is opening day for Trenton baseball at the Babe Ruth Field. So please come out and support South Ward's baseball team. We have Trenton baseball and we have the Trenton Knights. So please come out and support. Let me see what else. Oh, Empowerment House has an anger management program that they are launching for youth ages 14 to 18. So if you know any youth that can utilize these types of services, this type of mentoring, these types of therapy, what have you, please go to empowermenthouse823.org. This is in conjunction with Better Way, ISLES, and Trenton Community Street Teams. Moving forward, I just wanted to briefly discuss, we are inundated constantly with issues regarding enforcement. And again, I know I've said this before, I know that we present ordinances, we try to reinforce ordinances, we try to create ordinances that will better, what we believe will better the quality of life of city residents, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve. We're here to balance the budget, deal with the budget, make sure that money gets appropriated where it's most needed and most beneficial. But we also want to see rules and laws that can be that can create our day to day, bring revenue into the city, but also just give us overall order in our city. So having said that, we still do have issues with enforcement, and it's at no fault of the players, no fault of the individuals in those positions, but more so a fault of the abundance of the employees that we have at our helm to be able to enforce these things. So we are just continually asking the public to bear with us as we try to work out all these kinks, and we do try to satisfy the overall needs of our community, in working to really wholly certify our public safety and our quality of life that we all deserve. So having said that, I have nothing further. So I would like to now pass it on to Madam President Feliciano.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being present. Thank you, Council Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg, for facilitating the meeting tonight. I appreciate it very much. To everyone that came forward and spoke, thank you for bringing forth what it is that you had to say to let the council be aware. I have spoken to Mr. Chapman on many occasions, and I have assisted him with several things that he has had to deal with, from tort claims with his car to issues about potholes on Bellevue Avenue and the like. And when he contacted me today about the issue with his brother and the shelter and everything, I advised him and the church on the street, I have the information for all of that, that it is best sometimes to come forward and present it to the whole body, so that everyone can hear exactly what's going on. So as we're getting presented with different information from different places, we can hear all of the various perspectives from everybody's point of view about what's happening. So as we try to drill down to what needs to be done and what's happening, we can hear it and make good, formidable decisions. To Ms. Shakila, I'm sorry that these things are happening, but you can trust and believe that the council, within the power that we have, are working to the best of our ability to make sure that there is a change as it happens with various things that are happening in the city concerning these landlords, these properties, these rent increases, leaving the properties just in shambles, not holding up to their end of the bargain. It is not fair and it is not right, and we are working to help make it happen. To Councilman Harrison's point, and we've said this time and time again, we do need help with more inspectors in the city of Trenton. We need a lot of help with a lot of things. And I'm hopeful that as we do enter into this budget season, that the administration does its part to adequately look at the landscape of what is going on. And then as they present the budget to us, that they have taken into consideration what is truly needed. And then the DCA, when they look at it, they will understand and see what it is that we need as well, and help us to do what needs to be done to move Trenton in the right direction. Mama Lit, Ms. Wilborn, thank you for coming in and saying, you know, thank you. That goes a long, long way. We do what we do, not for form or fashion. We do it for our love for the city. But it is nice when people say thank you and they see and understand, because every day is not always an easy day and every day is not always a good day. But we continue to press forward in the fight to help the city. To my council colleague, Councilwoman Edwards, yes, to you and Councilwoman Williams, I look forward to us getting this entertainment district together in the North Ward and helping to make this happen as I look and engaged in the emails with you back and forth and seeing the connection and the collaboration and the plans and the thoughts. With careful thought and preparation as we move this thing forward, we can actually help Trenton to begin prayerfully to rebuild and get itself together and its footing, because we want to attract people to come in to invest in Trenton. We want people to come in to help us to get the capital city back to a thriving place where people want to be here, tourism and entertainment and things of the like, right? Respectful entertainment and carefully thought out entertainment as well. That being said, I thank you all once again for coming here tonight. And thank you, Council Vice President, for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Garcia, we can proceed?
Certainly. Madam Vice President, moving on with the docket this time. We've reached the point of minutes for approval. If you want to ask for a motion to approve minutes for February 20th, 2024 and February 22nd, 2024.
Do I have a motion to approve minutes from February 20, 2024 to February 22nd, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. I'll call the roll. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam Vice President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve communications and petitions.
May I have a motion to approve communications and petitions?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
And Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. On to ordinances for second reading. We have ordinance 24-23, ordinance authorizing the honorary name of Joseph and Mary Ravenel Way to New Rose Street. Excuse me, the New Rose Street, that is a typo. On the honorary naming of, yes, New Rose Street to Joseph and Mary Ravenel Way. My apologies. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam Vice President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam Vice President, we've reached the point of consent agenda at this time. If you want to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of resolutions 24-126, 136, 137, 138, 139, 140, 141, 143, 144, 145, 146, 147, 148, 149, 150, 151, 152, 153, 155, 157, 158, 159, and 160.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, I'll call the roll. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, it's my understanding that the roll call resolutions will be for a different date, and I'll defer to the solicitor for that purpose.
That's right. Director Bridges asked me to relay the fact that this will be considered at a future meeting, if that's okay with Council President, Vice President.
Yes, for this one.
Thank you.
So, excuse me, I'm sorry. To be clear, there's no executive session tonight.
No executive session tonight.
Thank you.
Moving on, Madam Vice President, to ordinances for first reading and introduction. Ordinance 24-14, an ordinance of the City of Trenton amending Chapter 10, Alcoholic Beverages, Section 10.5, restrictions of the Code of the City of Trenton to permit a waiver of distance restrictions under certain circumstances.
Madam Vice President.
Yes, Madam President.
Thank you. Just a quick question. Have we prepared the amendment for this showing the increase in the fine to $750 as was proposed by Councilwoman Williams?
Yeah.
I'll defer to the solicitor on that as well.
Yes, Council President, I can address that. So one thing I wanted to make clear was that that section of the ordinance that we're referring to falls under the New Year's Day exception.
Oh.
So that penalty, I just wanted to make sure, we can certainly make that amendment tonight if we want to, but I wanted to make sure that that only applies to those entities that stay open too late on New Year's Day. So it's a pretty specific penalty. That's what that increase would apply to. We could do that if that's the council's will tonight, but I just wanted to explain to council that was the penalty provision that was discussed.
So what you're saying is that if the council wanted there to be another penalty for any other time other than New Year's Day, then we would have to make that amendment now as well?
It certainly doesn't have to be now, but
Or down the line. So like if it's not on New Year's Day, then if it's Monday through Friday, outside of that, if they stay open past the designated time, if we wanted them to be hit with a $750 penalty as well, then we need to spell that out.
that's correct.
Okay.
And
Thank
the other sections of the ordinance refer back to our general penalty provision, which imposes a maximum of $2,000 penalty to be determined by the municipal court.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just want to verify, to Mr. Mitchell, so we do not need to have another vote on that amendment secure as is.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman, could you repeat that?
Originally, when we had chatted, you wanted potentially that we need to have a second vote on the amendment. Do we no longer need to do that tonight?
If there's a motion on the floor to amend the ordinance that's before you, we could certainly do that, and we could change the $500 penalty for New Year's Day to $750. So if that's,
I'm sorry, I think we did that,
Mr.
though,
Mitchell,
didn't
we
we?
did that. Yeah, we did that Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
if
was
that's
on
already been
Tuesday.
done, then we can, just to be clear that it is,
Okay.
that provision only does apply to New Year's Day, and the ordinance that's on the table right now for when the motion is made is for to increase that from $500 to $750.
With that motion that had passed on Tuesday in mind?
Tuesday.
Yes.
So-
Understood. So yeah, that is the ordinance, although it may not be written there, the ordinance, but before council to vote on tonight, we'll have that increase to $750, and we'll make sure it's actually printed out that way for the second reading.
Okay. A small point of order to the council. If just for discussion purposes, and again, please do keep me honest, Scott, if that's the case, we do require a motion and a second prior to discussion. Isn't that correct?
That's right.
Okay,
Yes.
just understood.
Yep.
But that,
Sorry.
it's okay, Madam President.
Thank you.
With that case, Madam Vice President, if there's no other discussion, would you ask for a motion you'd like to ask for a motion to approve the ordinances read by title?
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a second?
Is there a second?
Second.
Got it. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to ordinance 24-18, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as Baker Alley and identified on the city tax map, block 23803, lot 19, pursuant to NJSA A:12-13B5 to El Catador Bar and Grill for the sale price of $1,000. And Madam President, if you ask for a motion to approve.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Who is the second? I apologize.
Gonzalez.
Thank you very much. Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-26, an ordinance to revise certain positions, fixing the salary ranges, therefore, and setting certain regulations for the implementation of same construction official.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-28, an ordinance to amend Chapter 222 of the Code of the City of Trenton, rent control, to fix rental increase at 4%.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Madam
It's been
Vice
moved to
President.
second.
Yes, Madam President.
Discussion.
Thank you. Has this been amended with Councilwoman Frisbee's suggestion that we waive the rent for the increase for 2024? Somebody was supposed to look into that and tell us if we could go ahead and do that.
So.
Yeah, I can address that, Council President. So
Thank
we looked into that today. There doesn't seem to be anything in the law that would either prohibit it or permit it. But at this point, the recommendation from myself, Director Bridges, and Director Ferrara would be to allow the Rent Control Board to convene and consider that issue. In fact, one of their responsibilities under the ordinance is to consider issues such as this. You know, it's comprised of landlords and tenants and people that are familiar with this area. So the recommendation from us would be to allow them to consider it. Frankly, allow us to further research the law to see if that would be permissible, and allow them to make a recommendation in that regard.
Okay, and they've sent out, are you aware, have they been getting resumes in for the Rent Stabilization Board? Are we moving with that? We haven't seen anything with that.
I believe they have been, actually, yes.
Yes.
I haven't been intimately involved. Councilman Gonzalez, I don't know if you've.
I was told at the last meeting that yes, we did receive some. I think we received 6. They wanted to just get one more backup of a landlord, I think, to be on it, because you have to have 2 alternates. And I think they're waiting on one more alternate of a landlord to present it to us.
So I would anticipate that we'll have, hopefully, in the upcoming meetings, but one of the critical roles of that board is to actually hold hearings from tenants and landlords about rent issues. So it is important that we get that up and running.
Okay.
Yes. And if you don't mind, Council Vice President, Ms. Shaquille, if you're interested, you can still submit your name for that also, because we are looking at names for that Rent Stabilization Board.
Council President or Council Vice President?
Yes, Councilwoman
I also
Williams.
just want to re-up my request from the other night for a legal opinion on how this ordinance will affect the operation of the Rent Stabilization Board. I asked Mr. Bridges about that a couple nights ago. I might be working on
How
it.
this would affect the ordinance for the operation of the board itself is, we have that. My understanding is that the board has not been operational over the past, I'm not sure how long.
Yes, but when it comes operational, I'd like to get an idea of, with an ordinance such as this, how might that affect pro and con the actual function and operation of a rental stabilization board?
You mean the amendment that's on the floor tonight?
Yeah, just,
Well, the amendment that's on the floor tonight would simply cap the rent increase that's permissible at 4% and 2% for people that are disabled and senior citizens. So in that sense, those amendments don't affect that board at all, really. It's just, this is now a citywide ordinance that applies to all landlords, and they should understand that the amount they're allowed to increase the rent from year to year is now capped. So I think the short answer to your question is that it does not really impact the function of that board. But if there's any other further questions about the function of the board, I'd be happy to address that and write up a more formal memo.
Okay, thank you very much.
If there's no other discussion, Madam Vice President, we'll go to roll call.
Council Vice President?
Oh,
Did you hear me?
No.
Council Vice President?
Oh, Councilman Harrison.
Yes, I was wondering if Councilwoman Frisbee was okay with the recommendation that was made? Councilwoman Frisbee?
Councilwoman Frisbee, did you hear the question from Councilman Harrison?
I did not hear it. If you repeat it for me, please.
Sure, Councilman Harrison,
Yeah, I was wondering if you were okay with the recommendation made by Scott regarding the recommendation from him and Mr. Bridges.
The acoustics is bad in there, so Mr. Garcia, if you would repeat it, I would appreciate it.
Certainly, Councilwoman, the councilman asked if you were, wanted to ask if you were okay with the recommendation from Mr. Bridges and Mr. Micchio regarding the ordinance.
So thank you, Councilman Harrison, for asking the question. And I'm not sure exactly, because again, the acoustics is bad in there, so I didn't hear exactly what the recommendation is.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia, if you could give me what the recommendation, or if they would come closer to your mic, is the best way for me to hear.
Go right ahead, Scott, if you want to go ahead, sir.
Hi, Councilwoman, Scott here. So the recommendation from myself, Director Bridges, and Director Ferrara is that this be an issue that is one of the first issues that addressed by the Rent Control Board when it is up and running. One of the tasks of the Rent Control Board written right there into the ordinance is actually to consider issues such as this. And considering that, the legality of it at this point is questionable. We've done some research. I don't feel comfortable giving a more formal opinion on that at this point, but we do think that this would be an issue best addressed by the Rent Control Board, and they could bring a recommendation to City Council.
Thank you, Mr. McGill, and thank you, Councilman Harrison again. So yes, with that, I am comfortable with that, and I would say we can go ahead with it.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Madam Vice President?
Thank you.
Yes, Madam President.
The only other thing I would see with that is just in the title, and I don't know if we need to do this now, but just something to think of as we move ahead, because we're not just only addressing to fix the rental increase at 4% for regular tenants, but also 2% for the senior citizens and the disabled. That should be in the title as well, so that way we know exactly what is going on. I mean, we could read it in the paragraphs, but just for continuity and flow, that should be in the title as well.
That's an excellent point. This was a fluid conversation, and these things changed over time as we kind of developed the ordinance. But I think we could do that now as well if you'd like to. We could just say that, we could amend the title to add the fact that it's also capped at 2% for people that are disabled and senior citizens.
Madam Vice President, should I take a motion, is there a motion to amend that title?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. I'll call the roll for the amendment. Councilwoman Edwards?
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg?
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Harrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
And Council President Feliciano?
Yes.
Motion carried. Is there any other discussion on this ordinance at this time?
Madam Vice President?
No. Councilwoman Edwards.
I just wanted for clarity, are we going with the recommendation of the council to allow the Rent Stabilization Board to do this, or are we moving forward with a vote? Just so I understand.
We're moving forward with the vote.
Okay.
But Rent Stabilization Board is going to be the one to talk about skipping a year and all that kind of stuff like that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Any other discussion?
No, proceed.
Thank you. Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards?
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg?
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Harrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Council President Feliciano?
Yes.
Motion carried. On to ordinance 24-29, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding illicit connections to the municipal separate storm sewer system and to amend chapter 254 of the code of the city of Trenton.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-30, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding littering and to amend chapter 150 of the code of the city of Trenton.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-31, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding pet waste and to amend chapter 21 of the code of the city of Trenton.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-32, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding feeding of wildlife and to amend chapter 21 of the code of the city of Trenton.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-33, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding privately owned refuse containers and dumpsters to amend chapter 254 of the code of the city of Trenton.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-34, ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding yard waste and to amend chapter 312 and 248 of the code of the city of Trenton.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-35, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding spilling, dumping, or disposal of materials other than stormwater and to amend chapter 254 of the code of the city of Trenton.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams. Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-36, ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding privately owned salt storage and to amend chapter 254 of the code of the city of Trenton.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-37, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding retrofitting of storm drain inlets and to amend chapter 254 of the code of the city of Trenton.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 24-38, an ordinance of the city of Trenton to adopt NJDEP's model ordinance regarding tree removal and replacement to amend Chapter 287 of the Code of the City of Trenton.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, I believe that is the end of our docket at this time. If you wish, you can ask for a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Vice President Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Feliciano. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
There we go.